Okay, so let's get into it. When we talk about massive construction projects, we're talking about a world of high finance, immense risk, and, well, paperwork. But what if I told you that one single signature on one piece of paper is maybe the most important moment in the entire process? A signature that can move millions of dollars and transfer a mountain of risk in the blink of an eye. So I want you to picture something. You're looking at this brand new, gleaming skyscraper. It looks totally done, right? The cranes are gone, the lights are on. But what happens if, tonight, a pipe bursts and floods 3 entire floors? I mean, who's on the hook for that? Is it the contractor who just finished building it? Or is it the owner who's about to cut the ribbon? That is a massive, and I mean massive, question of liability. And you know what's crazy? The answer to that multi-million-dollar question, it all comes down to a single document, a single piece of paper. That's the switch. It's the legal and financial moment where everything changes, where the keys are officially handed over. So, what is this all-important document? Well, it's called the Taking Over Certificate. Or if you're in the industry, you'll just hear it called the TOC. And that's what we're going to break down today. Think of the TOC as the project's graduation diploma. It's the official seal of approval that says, hey, this thing is substantially complete and it's safe to use. It's the moment a project stops being just a construction site and becomes what it was always meant to be, a functioning building, a working power plant, you name it. Okay, but here's a really important point. Substantially complete does not mean perfect. It's not 100% flawless. There might still be a few little things to sort out. Some minor cosmetic fixes, maybe a loose handle here or there. The kind of stuff you'd find on a final walkthrough of a new house. The key thing is the project is safe and it's ready to be used. It's open for business. All right, so why are we making such a big deal about one certificate? Because this is where things get really interesting. This isn't just about filing paperwork. Getting that TOC signature is like pulling a massive trigger, one that sets off a whole chain reaction of really big financial and legal events. First off, risk. The second that TOC is signed, this huge weight of responsibility for the entire site, we're talking insurance, security, all of it, gets transferred. It's literally like passing the baton in a high-stakes relay race. It goes from the contractor's hands, boom, right into the owner's. And then, of course, there's the money. For the contractor, the TOC is a huge payday. See, throughout a big project, the client holds back a chunk of the money. It's called retention money, kind of like a security deposit. Well, signing the TOC unlocks half of that cash. We're talking a massive injection of funds that the contractor has been waiting for. The TOC also acts like a big red stop button. If a project is running late, the contractor is usually getting hit with some pretty hefty daily fines. They're called liquidated damages. The moment that certificate is issued, the penalty clock stops instantly, and that can save them a fortune. But the contractor isn't completely off the hook. This signature also kicks off a whole new phase, the defects liability period. This usually lasts for 1 to 2 years. And during this time, the contractor's job totally changes. They're not building anymore. Now their job is to come back and fix anything that breaks or any defects that show up. So you might be wondering, how does a contractor actually get this certificate? Well, it's not like someone just hands it to them. It has to be earned. There's a formal process you have to go through. It's basically a 3-step process. Step 1, the contractor puts their hand up and says, okay, we think we're ready for handover. Step 2, the engineer comes in and does a full inspection to make sure the work is actually up to snuff. And step 3, if everything looks good, they sign off and issue the certificate. Simple as that. But here's a little twist that adds some pressure. Under a lot of standard contracts, the clock starts ticking for the engineer too. Once the contractor says they're ready, the engineer usually has just 28 days to respond. If they don't, if they just drag their feet, the certificate can be deemed to be issued. It happens automatically. So yeah, everyone's on the clock. Now, the certificate itself is just one page, but it's the cover of a much bigger package. You also get a bunch of other key documents. The snagging list is basically the final punch list, all those little fixes we talked about. You get the as-built drawings, which show how the project was actually constructed, not just how it was designed. And of course, you get all the instruction manuals, the warranties, the whole shebang. Okay, so everything seems to be going smoothly. You're right at the finish line, ready to get that signature, and then a hidden villain shows up, something that can bring the entire process to a screeching halt. What am I talking about? Contamination. And I don't just mean a messy site. We're talking about genuinely hazardous stuff. Things like asbestos, silica dust, lead, even chemical spills. This kind of thing can be uncovered during the project or happen by accident, and finding it is an absolute game stopper. Just look at the difference it makes. A normal handover? You do a visual check, you fix some minor stuff. But a contaminated site? Whoa. Now you're talking about bringing an environmental specialist for testing. You need a full-blown remediation plan to clean it all up. And you have to get separate environmental clearance certificates, all before you can even get close to issuing the TOC. And really, it all boils down to this. You can't say a project is safe for use if it's contaminated. It's as simple as that. It doesn't matter how great everything else looks. Proving the site is clean becomes a non-negotiable hurdle you have to clear to get that final, all-important signature. So there you have it. The certificate is signed, the money's flowing, the penalty clock is stopped, the risk has been transferred, the keys are handed over. But then you have that defects liability period looming, that period where the contractor is still on the hook for anything that goes wrong. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is the contractor's job ever truly done?